getting at with the book script? Spit that shit out, man!
Do you want to form an alliance with me?
Absolutely, I do.
Good.
Go outside, nerd. Get out. Go.
Oh my God, I did not think he was going to do that. That scared me. That actually scared me a little bit.
It's called Two Brothers. Two Brothers. It's just called Two Brothers.
Welcome to a special episode of Two Brothers
And a black guy.
and Friend.
Hello.
Is that a working title still, or should we just keep it as...
Still awful, but let's run.
I put him as Tall Josh in the first episode that he was
I
featured
was
in,
gonna
but then
say,
I changed it back to Friend because that's what you guys asked me to
Friend,
do.
yeah.
So
How would we keep it like like the comic books? Two brothers and friends.
Two Brothers and Friend?
Yeah.
But
they're our sidekicks.
Super Brothers?
Oh, okay. I still like Two
Dang.
Bros and a Black Guy. I feel like that
We
one
delegated
flows.
the colored people besides us as sidekick center?
Yeah.
Really?
Just
Two Brothers, a Black Guy, and a Korean, right?
I'm not
Fully
Korean
Korean.
enough.
So you're only
Not
on-
so Korean guy.
Oh, that's so great.
Not so Korean.
I'm the not so Korean guy.
There
Well,
you go.
we'll say that. Yeah.
It's still... Friend is good for
Okay, all right. Friend is good. Okay,
We got a lot of offended people out there.
of course,
Right?
of
yeah.
course.
Well, that's how it goes.
Well-
But this episode is going to be a bit of a deviation from what we usually record. Normally, we record stuff about pop culture, movies, TV, comic books, video games, and we'll get to that. Me and Edgar are going to talk about like Tekken 8 in the next few weeks. Maybe Prince of Persia, if I ever pass it. But for today, we're going to be recording an episode where we talk about something that's, I think we've all experienced and I still deal with, would you say, guys? Josh?
I think to a degree, yeah, we all struggle with a certain aspect of it, a certain percentage of it. Absolutely.
And that's mental health. You know, me and Edgar covered it a little bit a few times on the podcast, more particularly with the comics and mental health episode. So if you guys want to listen to that, we'll probably have a link on the in the description below when this episode comes out. But this is going to be one where we talk about mental health completely, like just in general as a topic.
We diving in.
Yeah.
we're
And
gonna get personal, guys.
today we're
A lot
going to
of
get
hugging,
personal.
a lot of holding.
I'm all for it, bro.
I don't
I'm all
have
for
one
it.
of those like comfort pillows or anything that you get, or one of those balls.
You are
Alberto.
my pillow,
Yeah,
Alberto.
you look like a pillow, though. I would hug the shit out of you, baby.
bear hug.
We're going there,
Bear
bro.
Okay, so before we dive deep, let's start with our relationship with mental health. I'm gonna throw it to you, Edgar. You're gonna be the first one to lead it. What is your? Because I find your relationship with mental health interesting because of when it started for you, like when you started to feel the same symptoms of like anxiety and like panic that I did.
Yeah.
And so I want to like you go ahead and open it up first.
Well, when I first experienced like depression and all that was and I feel it in my gut about it, like when I was let go in Jesse Penny. It sounds stupid, but yeah.
Okay.
The reason why is because it's the first time I kind of gave a fuck in a way. Like they're like, I got the 1 year for being there.
Yeah. Oh, you got that?
Yeah.
I never got any.
And
of
it
in
kind of
my
felt
job.
good. And it's like,
Sorry, Alberto.
We weren't there for a year, Alberto. That's the thing. We all worked.
I'm talking about like
JCPenney
my
at some
current
point.
job. I've
Oh.
been there for a while. I haven't gotten shit.
and I was gonna be promoted to appliances. They were considering me. Like,
that's right.
I remember that actually.
yeah?
Yeah, because there was talks about that, like with Josh
Mhm.
and yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh, Josh was gonna run it with you.
no,
or-
the other Josh.
but he was gonna like.
I
be
guess
a
they're gonna
part
be
of it?
employees, and he was gonna be our boss.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I feel like the main store manager was like out for me.
Out to get you.
So after after all that whole thing happened, I felt into a deep depression basically, because I really enjoyed what I was doing, you know.
Damn, man.
And I was, you know, I was getting promoted, even though it's like, what the fuck? I never experienced that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was depression. And 2020, before the pandemic happened.
2020.
It was like at the cusp.
Yeah, but it wasn't.
Right?
It wasn't the pandemic that fucking triggered it. I don't know. I still remember what happened. Like, I just woke up in the morning and I felt.
It was like health anxiety. You told me it was
Yeah,
like
I
it
didn't-
was like stuff that you couldn't really.
I couldn't pinpoint what it was. I was just
Right. Yeah.
and that really gave me sort of what you deal with your anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of dealt with anxiety on my own in a way, because then the pandemic happened and I couldn't go see my therapist and shit.
Yeah. it
So
was-
that anxiety is kind of new to me, because I don't know how to deal with it. You still, you know.
even now, or you're talking about back then.
Right now too. It's like
Really? Well, it's because you
it sways, you know.
you started having like anxiety like I did in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying like even now you.
I don't know.
can't,
Anxiety is like a fucking annoying fucking.
like a pestering little monster.
It's unpredictable.
Yeah, it's like a little fucking thing just poking
Very
at you
unpredictable.
constantly, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if you don't deal with it, like doing like your mental exercises, like meditating or do something that you enjoy,
Yeah.
it just keeps messing with you, you know. So yeah,
That's kind of what. All right. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, Josh, I was gonna have you go ahead.
I'm just kidding.
Already. All right. Getting too much.
A little bit back to like J.C. Penney's.
Mhm.
Correct me if it's been so long, but when they let you go, there was like no explanation.
she didn't give me an explanation.
They just released you.
Cold.
The only
that-
explanation she said is because
Corporate America, y'all.
Right.
You couldn't
Ain't
check
shit.
out family members in the cash register. I just did it once for my mom, and I guess they caught me doing that.
You didn't
That's
do any
what-
like incentives or anything like that.
Nope.
And
You didn't give him you didn't
No
give
discount.
him a
no
discount.
No.
that's
So
weird.
what?
Even I don't know if you know Maria. She was like a super.
I remember Maria. I do remember her. Yeah.
She was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't even know when she's like letting you go, because she had to walk me out.
Didn't you
Out of
tell
the
me
store.
they escorted
Yep.
you out?
Because I was gonna go.
That-
No, just I don't know. She
That-
told
that-
her to escort me out the store, and that was it.
That's the worst.
Wow.
When there's no
Well, they don't tell you why.
yeah
Yeah.
like there's no why behind it.
That's
And I
foul,
think
bro.
what's
Mhm.
Fucked with me after is like, why? Like, what did I do wrong? You know, they were
Yeah.
considering me, you know, like I said, everything, and I think that's where it came from. You know, like the depression.
Well, I mean, it's because you said it's like it's something you gave a fuck about.
Yeah.
And they kind of took that. Circumstances sort of just took that away. I can
Yeah.
understand how that can be fucking heartbreaking, dude.
Yeah,
For
absolutely. No, absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what about you, Josh? I mean, how do you? So what is your relationship with mental health? Or
So you know, I don't. Would I say that you know I struggle with it to extreme? You know, no. You know, I don't believe I do. But I do believe that we do struggle with it to a certain degree. You know,
Yeah,
there are certain
yeah.
levels of it. Everybody struggles with mental illness. You know, for myself, I'm not one that really struggles with stress. I don't struggle with you know, doubt in myself. I feel like I'm a very confident person, but when the shit hits the fan,
right.
you know, I definitely do feel it when I stress, you know, especially now that I'm in the position that I'm in, you know, the pressures of being a father as well, and then trying to be successful in the work that I do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I feel like there is no why, or when there's no light at the end of the tunnel.
It's like a uncertainty.
Yeah,
kinda,
like an
yeah.
uncertainty. Like
No direction.
No
Yeah.
direction is the worst
It sucks.
feeling in the world.
I'm the same
you know?
way. Like if I'm I'm not trying to make it about me, but like I can relate to that because like I'm very much about intention, goals, direction. Like if we're not going somewhere, we're going nowhere. So to do something and not really know why, I hate that.
No, it sucks.
So I feel that.
You know, and the company that I work for, it's very, you know, I don't want to badmouth it. Overall, it's a really good company that I work for. Not talking about what company it is exactly, but it's a very solution-driven company. You know,
okay.
and it's very like
gatekeeping.
Yeah, it's like, so Josh, what's the plan? I'm like, fuck, dude, I don't know.
Right? Yeah.
I don't even know where I'm at right now, dude.
Josh, I need a plan right now. What's the plan? We need this plan yesterday. Holy shit! Give me 24 hours. Give me 24 hours.
That's a lot of fucking pressure, man.
Yeah, you know, and you know, it is the worst part of it. I will tell you, the more dealing with mental health, I've always been on the other side of things. You know, one of the things that I love being in leadership. In my previous past, you know, dealing with the church and stuff like that. Being in management,
been there.
You know, the conversations you have with the other individual, right? What can I do to lift you up?
Yeah,
you know, in this specific conversation, you know, and you and I have had great conversations.
Yeah, no, I remember. I recalled a few times. One in particular, I told Edgar this too. I don't quite remember the conversation how it went down, but I remember how much it impacted me.
That you were gonna quit, and I knew.
No, that was another thing too. But no. I think it was like
we all talked to you about that one.
It was about a month or so into working in JCPenney, and I think you pulled me off to the side, and we were just talking. I forgot what it was that we were talking about. You know what it was? You were trying to kind of make me more of a like the salesperson you wanted me to be, right? To sell the appliances and stuff. And I told you, yeah, I'm just very quiet. You know, I deal with a lot of I'm not as confident as I would like to be. And I think Edgar knows this too. I was like, we went up to this like second level where they keep all this like shelvings and stuff like that. Don't know what we were doing in there. I think you were like looking for something for like another department.
With all the mannequins?
Shit. Yeah.
If my memory serves me right? Yeah.
And you brought up a scene in Creed, I think, and you were telling me that like, I was like, you remember that scene where Michael B. Jordan is like shadow boxing in front of the mirror, and Rocky Balboa is telling him like you have to, you know, slip and dodge, and it's like the only person that's like your enemy is that person that you're looking in the mirror right there, and you were telling me like that's basically you're the only person that's getting in the way is you and all that, and I was like, damn, dude, like, honestly, I never had a deep talk like that with a boss at a fucking retail job. And so that stuck out in my mind. I was like, damn, dude, like, Josh is like, he's not just some fucking boss who's trying to get me to, like...
Now, hand over that mannequin over
there.
Get to work, bitch.
No, but, like, he was a boss that actually cared about me and, like, wanting to make me a better person, not just, like, a better... associate. And I was like, damn, like he gave a fuck about me. That's cool, dude.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I what's funny is I actually wanted to bring up that analogy. So let's hold off on that.
Okay.
Obviously, I want to hear all you guys out as well. But I use that analogy a lot, you know, and but I'll just leave that as itself. But I always, you know, I appreciate those conversations. You know, those previous conversations I would have with you, you know, Josh, as well.
Yeah.
You know, my previous associates, though, you know, in the business that I'm in right now, you know, I'm a conversationalist, I guess, you know, and conversations go a long way. They can be super impactful, and a lot of people don't think about that. So,
yeah, no, I agree.
So not so much on the actual mental wellness side of things, but struggling so much on my side. Obviously, I do have some type of stress, right, and doubt. Yeah. But I will say that I play a big part of it on the other side, if that makes sense.
Like helping others.
Yeah,
and like, absolutely.
You know.
No, I agree, Josh. I agree. We and I we've had text conversations before. One that comes to mind that I don't think I've shared with most people, maybe with Edgar.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna sound silly bringing it up, dude, but there was a time when you know how like I am with my girlfriend, and like how sometimes I get kind of anxious when she doesn't like respond back.
Mm-hmm.
You know that?
Yeah.
There was a moment when that happened in 2019, and I was like panicking. I was like, "What the fuck's going on? What's happening?" She was in San Francisco or Seattle or something like that.
With another man.
No. She was with her family. That
okay.
and I was like panicking, right? I was like, "Why the fuck am I like worried about like, what's going on?"
Mm-hmm.
He was the first person I texted when I was having a panic attack.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Josh knows that I was having a panic attack, but I texted him just to kind of pull me out of the moment of feeling like a panic attack.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why Josh is like such a cool like friend. Is like, I texted him, I was like, "Yeah, Josh, I'm feeling kind of." He's like, "Hey, how's it going, man?" And it was like a normal conversation. He's like, "Yeah, my girlfriend ain't texting me back. I don't know what's going on." And, and Josh was like, he texted me like, "How old is your girlfriend?" I was like, "She's whatever, she's 22 or something." So she's an adult. I was like, "Oh fuck." I stopped right there and was like, "So she knows how to take care of herself, right?" And I was like, yeah, you're right. And I was like, "Why the fuck am I like panicking about this?" And it was like that little thing that he said right there kind of pulled me out of the panic moment. And it was like such an easy thing.
Sometimes just the common sense is all you need to hear.
Yeah, Josh
sometimes
was
it's just the obvious thing that's not on our minds. Yeah.
What's fucked up is like I don't remember any of these conversations.
I'm pretty sure I was about to say I don't know if you I don't know if Josh remembers that, but it stuck out of my mind because it's like
you're right. Like when you're in it, like you can't think.
You don't think straight.
You don't think straight.
So when you're out of control.
When he pulled you out, you're like, I do sound stupid when I say this.
Yeah, Josh all he said was like, "So she can take care of herself.
Yeah.
Right? She's an adult." It's like, fuck. Yeah, Josh is completely right.
Like, now I seem dumb, bro. Damn
yeah, and I'll get into it more when I talk about
anxious
my
ass
anxiety,
boyfriend.
Yeah, I was like, fuck, dude. But no, Josh is like, I understand what he's talking about. Like, he is one of the people I go to when I feel doubtful about like what I'm doing with my writing. He was the one who suggested, "Hey, write like your anxieties, the things you like fear, worry about, write that into a horror movie." It's like, you got a good point.
Which is,
it never happened.
All right.
No, I wrote it. I'm just saying I never did anything with
That's
it.
how inspirational I am.
Yeah, dude. I thought you did
Inspire him to do nothing.
No, I did. I wrote it. I just never did anything with it. But it was like a cathartic experience to write that.
You got it in the back pocket. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Is there anything more you want to like? So I guess I want to.
He's kind of jumped into the middle, like.
Yeah, and I kind of jumped too much.
Tell us, like.
You want me to get into my?
Yeah,
shit?
Yeah. You still had to go, bro.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You just jumped into a story and that was it.
Well, so look, I feel like out of all of us here, I don't want to be like, "Oh, I'm showing off. I'm the most anxious person here."
Yeah, no, it's not a brag. It's not a brag, bro. We know what you mean. We know what you mean. It's not a brag.
I do want to emphasize. I feel like I have been dealing with it since I was a child. Anxiety.
Fair.
But I didn't know exactly how to identify it, until I was in a doctor's appointment one time. And I told him, like, yeah, I get worried a lot and I feel very, like, anxious and blah, 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 and this and that. I was like, "Oh, you sound like you have anxiety. You want to speak to a therapist?" I'm like, "What the fuck's anxiety?"
Oh,
Or
shit.
like,
I just remembered one of our conversations. Holy shit. Just hit me like a fucking rock. But go ahead.
Okay.
It was about therapy.
Okay, yeah. And I was like, "What the fuck do you mean, like, anxiety? Like, that's what I've been feeling this whole time?" And so I got set up with a therapist, and that's when I started to learn about my experiences as a child, my anxious attachment. This is what like with my parents, feeling very the thing that I worry or deal with the most is feeling like reassured. I have the tools now, but it's hard to kind of like self-soothe. Be able to be the person that can calm myself down. So like how Josh explains that, like he's you say you don't deal with it as much, anxiety, and that
Right.
you're kind of more confident.
Well,
right? You say, or
I'll share like my thoughts. Yeah, like why later on. But
yeah, but like that's where I'm trying to be, you
Mhm.
know. And I feel like that's why I talked to Josh was because
Didn't I tell you like
like
you stopped seeing a therapist?
I think at some point you did. I was like, you can kind of deal with what it is that you told me.
I don't remember, but I remember I was like kind of like I felt like maybe it comes off as an asshole, but I was like, dude, you're wasting your money seeing a therapist,
I
man.
think you did. Oh no, you know what it was. It's like you should. Like you're talking to me.
Yeah, it's like
you should just be. I think it was a joke, but you're like you should be paying me instead.
No, but I think I did insist. Like, again, it's all about conversations, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's all about the people you know around you.
Mm-hmm,
You know, why do we have friends? Why do we keep good people around us, right? Because
Right.
A lot of the times, the people around us they build us up, and
Or
vice
tear us
versa.
down, which is why it's important to have the right people.
The right
Indeed.
people,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
right? And a good friend will tear you down the right way, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Agreed.
But yeah, it's you know, this therapist, let's be honest, they don't know who you are. Do they really care who you are as well? You know, and then at the same time you're paying these people. You know, when really all you need is the people around you. You know, I don't want to get into again too much detail. You know, I'll share it as we all talk about it. But yeah, that was just my thought. Like literally when you brought that up, I was like, holy shit, we had a lot of conversations.
I understand where you're coming from with that too, though, and just to speak
with
briefly
therapy
on that
too?
as well, because like I'm all for therapy, but I do agree with Josh as well, just because it's it's an odd relationship. It's tough.
Absolutely.
It's very
Well,
tough.
obviously,
So,
with me and the therapist thing, like I'm in a fortunate position where I don't have to pay for the service.
that's the other thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's gotta be
I
free
took
at this
advantage
point.
of it at that point. I was like, you know, I might as well. You know,
free 99, baby.
right? Yeah, and at the time, Edgar was not dealing with anxiety as bad as I was. And my parents, you know, living in a Hispanic household, they just like, what the fuck's anxiety? We don't believe in that shit, you know? That's just how they are. They don't like
Super old school.
like
Super
anxiety.
old
Go
school.
fucking go outside and mow the lawn. It was like, you'll be fine afterwards, you know?
Oh,
So it's like somebody with
Yeah.
as much anxiety
Yeah.
as I had, I was like, I can't talk to my parents about it.
Yeah.
Can't really talk to Edgar about it. So I was like, I might as well talk to a therapist about it. And that's where I saw the benefit.
No, that makes
from
sense.
from
That
talking
makes
to
total
one.
sense, yeah.
But now having like people like Josh or like Edgar, now that he knows how it feels to be like wired differently like I am, like I'll admit I still do talk to a therapist, but it's more just so to keep myself accountable to do things myself, you know. But yeah, man, like, and no, anxiety is something that I've been dealing with for such a long time, and it's something I can't really like. I don't know, like, I worry about the most dumbest fucking things, like just like what I explained, you know. And Edgar knows it too. He's been in moments where he's had to bring me down from like the metaphorical ledge, and kind of like, hey, just chill out type of shit. Yeah, because I deal with anxiety that I don't think a lot of. Well, I mean, there's probably a lot of people who do deal with the type of anxiety I do, but it's very like, I fixate on little things and
That unnecessary stress, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Major on the minor and minor on the major.
Yeah.
A lot of people do that. Yeah.
No, and it was like, if my girlfriend ever listens to this, like, she knows that I'm a very anxious person and that I worry about
That time when
shit,
she was
like,
gone in San Francisco.
Yeah.
She was with me.
No, but then it was like with Edgar too. I dealt the same way with Edgar as well. Like, I would worry about like, why isn't Edgar home right now? He's supposed to be home from work right now. It's like, it's the dumbest things. But I realized that like it was because as a kid, going like when school was over, my parents would be like, "We'll pick you up at 3:00."
Well,
and in my mind, I was like, "It's okay. They'll be there at 3."
The plus side
You
of
know,
it,
it's
you know,
like-
looking at it from the positive point is it shows that you care.
Yeah.
You know, like your girlfriend is not responding. You know, I care for her. You know, I hope she's in a good state. You know, Edgar is coming home late. You know, I hope he's here soon. I care, right?
Yeah.
So, no, so plus sides, right? There's always the positive to
and
negative,
but
right?
but then I feel it's like, boy, am I taking care of myself? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like I'm caring a lot about my brother or like my girlfriend. It's like, but what am I doing to make sure that I'm doing all right? Because
it's when the emotionalism takes over, when it starts to become challenging.
Yeah.
Because I agree with what Josh said too. Because like as someone, like I'm an overthinker, and like I know other overthinkers, and when I do think about it, it's like, well, people that overthink, they think because they actually care about what's going on, right?
Right.
Because some people just don't think about shit, and then they just they wonder why life sucks, right? So yeah, that's important. But then, like you're saying, it's challenging when you don't know how to mitigate it well, because you spiral out of control pretty fast. You know what I'm saying? So
and it's like
I
not,
get that. I get that.
It's like it's not the responsibility of like my girlfriend or Edgar all the time to be like, I'm here, everything's fine, there's no need to like panic.
Right.
It's not necessarily fair to them to always kind of like make me or be the person.
Your reassurance is the priority, right?
Like I have to be able to do that myself, and so that's the thing I've been kind of struggling the most with, with anxiety, is like being the person that can be there for myself. You know what I mean? So
No, that's good. I like that. I respect that.
All right, Maurice.
Oh yeah. Okay, it's me now. Yeah. So my relationship with mental health is, anxiety, depression, all that stuff is very different from probably what you're gonna hear from most people, and especially like from you guys. But yeah. So I'm trying to be brief as possible. So
take your time, Maurice.
Bear with me. But yeah, so growing up, like, well, first thing you guys should know, like, before I get into like my perspectives, like, if you guys listen to the podcast for now, you know this. So I'm Christian. I believe in God. I'm not religious though, so let's get that out there. I do believe in having a relationship with God. I do not believe in religion. So I just want to throw that out there, because I know that's not a popular thing to say, but that's where I'm at. So that's who I am. Everything I do is an outwardly expression of my relationship with God. So that's me. As a result of that, that's a relationship I've had for probably, because I've been in church my entire life, but it wasn't actually real for me until I turned 15. I'm 24 now, so my journey with God has only been about 9 going on 10 years. So I'll be 25 this year. And so through that, I've kind of really, as I've grown with Him, I've kind of I see like the whole mental health, depression, like spectrum of our culture in a very different way. Because everything I want to see, I want to try to see it through a lens of faith. And if I can't see it that way, well, then I need to, get back on track. Because, I'm not saying that everything that comes from our culture is irrelevant, but a lot of it is kind of stupid. So,
Yes.
So yes. I want to make sure that, like, okay, God, like, I know this is the popular opinion, but like, what's actually going on? That's kind of where I'm coming from. So, growing up, like, we live in our, and I'm talking about mainly about, because I know Josh, you're a little bit older. Mainly talking about,
Thanks, Ben.
Yeah, sorry, bro. But mainly talking about,
just a little bit,
just a little bit, not too much, talk about, the generation, the more. Well, I mean, I don't know. Would you consider yourself a millennial or a little bit older? Okay, yeah. So the younger millennials, I guess, would be Edgar, Alberto, and I. Because you're 95.
I'm 65.
You're 65 years old? Well, you were born 95 and then
95.
92.
92? Okay, so I'm born 99. So
Jesus,
we're probably
Lord.
all same. Yeah. But anyway, in our generation.
You're really old, Josh. Is the whole point.
Wow.
But in our generation, at least, Josh walks out.
You gotta cut it.
In our generation, our time, like, depression became cool, and I still like I feel like that is still kind of a thing with a lot of people in our time, with millennials and Gen Zers. So in middle school, I figured being angry and being mad and depressed and hating the world was kind of just the way to live, right? That was a label. If you weren't depressed, you weren't real. You know what I mean? And so I don't know if you guys experienced that, but that was definitely me for a pretty long time. I want to say probably from all the way through middle school, all the way up until I want to say sophomore year of high school, And so growing up with that perspective, and then, finding God, I started to realize, like, what? I think the labels that we give ourselves, whether it's, mental health struggles or depression or this, that, and the other, it's really important, because what you believe about yourself affects how you behave and who you become, So these things, they're not bad to. It's not bad to say like, I have mental health struggles or I struggle with depression, this, that, and the other. But I think when you use it as a defining characteristic, it becomes a bit of a crutch for you not to get better, and that's where I want to be very careful. So yeah.
I respect that, and actually,
Yeah.
I don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
Do I think that there are a handful of people that struggle with it? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do I think people? It is in our human nature to take advantage of certain things, and
that's not all the way bad. Not all the way bad.
Not all the way bad,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But when it is bad, is that it is a crutch.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't do X, Y, and Z.
So and so because of anxiety. So and so because of
You have to treat
depression.
me
Right.
different because of this. Let's just be honest. We're all different.
Right.
That's what makes us unique.
Yeah.
That's what brings people together.
Yeah.
But
God made us all His creations in His own way.
No doubt.
Yeah.
And
so.
And I appreciate what you're saying too, because I can relate. I don't think this is so much mental health, but when I was young, so I grew up. A little bit about me. We grew up very poor. And we.
Did you grow up here in Colorado, or were you somewhere else?
I grew up in Colorado.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
And we grew up very poor, and we grew up in the hood. My mother, being Korean that she was very protective of us. But we grew up in an area where everything was confrontational. If I walked down the street
with the wrong color, or
yeah, exactly,
with the wrong people,
I have been beat up for my shoes.
Yeah,
that's
real. That's real.
And so I grew up angry, I
Same
had
here.
to be angry, and all this stuff. But as you get older, with age comes wisdom, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. The older, the wiser. Yeah.
To your point,
yeah.
Who gives a fuck?
Mm-hmm.
Why does this bother me? Why does this get to me? So to Alberto's point, right?
Yeah.
Is you got to worry about yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm gonna waste that negative energy to be angry.
Or to be anxious,
or to be anxious, or to worry,
right.
So, I agree with you 100%.
No, I was gonna say onto that point is that's how Edgar would kind of talk to me. Is why are you worried about stuff that's not the future?
Out of your control, right?
Yeah. And Edgar would always kind of bring that up. It's don't worry. Be right here, be right now. You're wasting time. You're supposed to be enjoying, watching TV or, playing video games or something. You're in your own
or being
head,
with your friends. Yeah.
Edgar always made that a point. It's dude, don't waste your energy on that, And it's with me, it's very hard to kind of pull yourself in. That's why I have those tools of meditating or stuff like that. But yeah, no, I agree. It's you can't. You're wasting too much energy on stuff that's
just unnecessary stress, like we talked about. Lost my train of thought. I apologize, but
no. Well, what did you have? Because you about all this shit, Because I know that's how.
Going back to the therapist thing. Just to people who listen or considering and all that. I had that mental, what do you say, nailed in the head type of thing. Like you said, growing up in a Mexican household, it's if you go see a therapist, that means you're fucking crazy, right?
Right. It's not a thing. Yeah.
Or
So,
you can't take medicine. What?
Yeah.
If you're taking medicine, that means there's something.
You're wrong with you.
Yeah.
So.
No, people of color in therapy it's a weird relationship.
Yeah.
It really is. A lot of us, especially the old, now it's cool, but back then it was a lot of people just don't get it.
It's also pride too.
Yeah.
And
right.
I struggle
right.
with that. So I won't go into too much details, but I've been with my wife for going on 20 years this year. And,
wow. Congrats.
Thank you. It has its blessings, and then it has its
ups and downs.
It's
marriage. Yeah.
It's marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife has at some point, considered hey, maybe we should see a marriage counselor, to kind of better communicate and stuff like that.
Not a bad idea, Josh.
Not a bad idea.
Not a bad idea.
But then I'm why would I share my business with some random ass human being?
No, I had
Edgar had the same thing.
Right. Yeah.
It's so weird because it was my mom that seek the therapist. He said, give it a shot. So fine. You know that episode in The Office when Michael has to do that training with Toby? That was me. Just like,
you don't want to talk about your problems.
Because, like I said, growing up, I didn't want to say, like, yeah, I do feel depressed. Or, like, yeah, I did have suicidal thoughts. Because, you know, growing up and hearing all that shit is
it's like a stigma.
Yeah, it's a stigma. There you go.
It's a stigma, yeah.
But he would, like, he would help me understand, like, yeah, you do have depression.
Yeah, trauma.
And all this shit. Yeah. It's like, okay, I got to deal with it now. I got to accept, you know. It took me a while to accept that because, like you said, pride and I don't want to throw this shit in.
I'll never be a person that deals with things. That's how you were.
Yeah, like I don't want to, be labeled, all that shit. But it took me a while, and sometimes you do need like Josh said, sometimes you do not need to talk a lot about about your therapist, but like what I'm trying to say is like
it's find a balance, right?
It's find a balance.
Yeah,
it's good to know like I told my therapist like, so what does this come from? Like because I don't know where
anxiety and
that's a good thing to talk about your therapist about.
No, I agree.
To understand like
being educated on it.
Yeah, there you go.
It helps. It helps for you to understand like, okay, this is how my brain is wired.
Yeah,
and this is how I can deal with it, or like this is why I have panic attacks. And the better you're educated you are, the more you're able to like. Not control but manage it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I like how you talked about like the balance between the relationships too, because like that's something that I've been struggling with recently, because I'm thinking about like getting more into like therapy this year, because like I said, I am for it, because my thing is like I want to make sure that and this is definitely a challenge, but I want to make sure like my therapy isn't replacing my relationship with God, because it's like, well, if my therapy's good, but then my time with the Lord's not good, and like that's kind of deteriorating, and like there's prayerless, and like I'm more dependent on the human answer other than the godly answer. That's an issue, right? But then I also have to realize, well, part of having a relationship with God is having a relationship with people, right? So you have to have a relationship with Him, but you also have to involve community as well, because like we need each other. You know what I mean? So it is important to have both, but it's it's challenging. It's challenging.
No, I brought that up with my therapist.
Yeah.
About God and all that.
The very thing I'm just talking about. Yeah.
He said, that's fine. It's like, if you believe in God, that's cool. He's like, if you want to read the Bible, go ahead. You know,
that's cool.
Sounds like a band. Like
do you agree with me though? Right? Is it the right thing to do, or are you just saying just go ahead, do whatever you want?
I mean, might as
hey
well.
Man, God is cool, dude. Go ahead and just.
Yeah.
Either way, I get paid just sitting here. No, I'm just
kidding.
All right, Maurice, cut this, please.
Y'all telling too much, bro.
No, I felt like I was just being more educated. I wouldn't ask a lot of like how I felt that day. It's like, so why am I wired this way? It was like, like why am I this, or why do I think that way? And help me, like you said, help me understand more, and accepting like it's just it's like that's the way you are, but like
it's just how you're wired, dude.
Yeah, it's like that's how you're wired. So.
No, but I feel like learning that, and then in tandem with like what Josh is saying, and then also just being like, but like like the way I look at it is, or ideally the way I want to look at it is like if anxiety happens, you just kind of like, oh yeah, it's there, there goes my anxiety, but let me keep moving forward.
Doesn't define you.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's all. Yeah, going, see,
it's like important. in spite of feeling anxious, you keep trying to just live your life, dude. It's just how it is. There's this cool scene in Captain America: Civil War. I brought this up with you before, with Vision. I don't know if you guys remember.
Bring that up. Go ahead. Yeah.
Where he's talking to Scarlet Witch, and he points to the stone. He was like, "This, I don't know what this is. I just know that like it's a part of me, and I know that like if." But I want to know more about it. The more I know more about this stone, the more
I'll know about
I have control over it instead of it having control over me.
That was the scene they were cooking in the kitchen, right?
Yeah.
So elaborate on that a little bit. So the first step, I think, of overcoming mental health,
bettering yourself as an individual is you need to understand who you are.
Yeah.
It starts with you.
What works for you and what doesn't.
And there's a lot of people out there that I think they struggle. They doubt in themselves. They're not confident in themselves, simply because they don't know themselves personally.
They know who they are.
And Alberto, you're talking about yourself is you're so worried about, your girlfriend, you're so worried about, Edgar. And the future stuff. But worry about yourself. You're right.
Yeah.
If how is Alberto supposed to take care of the people around him when he cannot take care of himself?
We had this conversation before, right, Edgar? Yeah. I was telling you, I'm glad you brought this up, Josh, because there was a time not that long ago where I was having a panic attack, and Edgar had to kind of calm me down. And when I was calm, I was telling Edgar, what's crazy is that, if I want to have kids, I want to be a father. How am I gonna be able to take care of my children if I'm having a fucking panic attack about where mom is? Where's Jesse? And I have a fucking son that's why is my dad fucking pacing around the room freaking out? It's
it's gonna mess him up, man.
I have to be able to deal with this shit first and take care of myself first before anything else.
Do you guys ever listen to motivational speaking or anything like that?
Low key.
Sometimes.
The only ones I really listen to is from Steve Harvey and a couple other people.
The Rock.
Yeah, The Rock, low key.
The Rock, low key, had a good one.
The
Rock
Gross. It's too much of an ego.
But
sorry.
that's
cut
true.
that out again.
He does, but I mean,
No.
I feel like he has some valuable stuff, but very rarely.
My recommendation is Kobe Bryant.
Oh,
and I'm talking about after he retired. I wasn't so much of a fan
in his head about basketball.
I hated him when he played for the Lakers, but as he retired and listening to his motivations, and one of the things he brings up is, I genuinely believe that I can do whatever I want, and I believe that anybody out there, when they have the right mindset, they can do anything and everything that they want. It's having the confidence in yourself, knowing who you are, and then identifying how you're going to get to that goal. He uses climbing Mount Rushmore as an example. He's I genuinely believe I can climb Mount Rushmore, but I need to be aware of how long it's going to take, what distance I need to take before I take a break,
how to not die,
and so forth. But he's I genuinely believe that I can do it, but it also starts with taking baby steps as well. And we don't know ourselves to the point where we rush into situations. We make assumptions. Humans are worse at that. I hate assumptions. I assume that
most of them are wrong.
Maurice, he don't like me because he's giving me the evil eye. For all I know, he's just tired, zoned out, bored because I'm just running my mouth too much.
Yeah, you misinterpret.
He's not hating on me. I'm just making a poor assumption. When the truth of the matter is
he looked at me wrong.
Well, the truth of the matter is I don't know until he's actually told me. So why dwell on that?
Right.
What are the facts?
And vice versa.
People,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
What are the facts?
No, that's a good thing you bring up because one thing that I've worked with therapy is kind of combating anxiety is looking at it factually. When you're dealing with an anxiety attack, you have to look at the facts.
We can be in our own heads way too much.
What can you control right now in this moment? When you're feeling panic or when you're feeling anxiety, is well, I know I can control. I'm in this space right now. I could work out. Let me go out for a walk. Let me work on this thing I'm supposed to work on. You just looking at the facts and looking at what you can do in the moment when you're feeling anxious. And it's I'm talking about it from a perspective of someone who is it is really for me it is tough to kind of get out of it, snapping out of it. And I think Edgar, he has his bouts with it too. I know him and I have talked about it, but I feel like I deal with it a lot more than Edgar does. It's snapping out of that anxious moment. You know what I mean?
So when you guys have these situations, who are you battling with?
That's my
Just me,
mind.
myself, and I. Sounds like.
My mind, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and that's again going back to the Creed analogy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, is you know, in the ring, whether it's in the ring, whether it's in our personal life, work, whatever,
Mhm.
you know, our biggest obstacle is ourselves.
Mhm.
So you gotta get out of your own way, kind of.
You know, how often do you tell yourself, Edgar, Alberto, Maurice, even myself, that, you know, we are genuinely great people?
Yeah. No, this is a good point. We rarely do.
You know, like, it is okay
yeah.
for you to tell yourself how great you are.
Mhm.
And then you can say, this is why.
Like I said, what you believe about yourself affects how you behave and who you become. That's
Josh
real.
brought up I think you told me this exact same thing when we were at work one time. I think you were asking me about my writing. I don't know what it was, but I think I wasn't confident with my own writing. It's like Albert, you have to be. It's like, you know Eminem, right? That's what you're telling me. It's like, yeah, I know. It's like he's like one of the greatest like hip hop artists. I don't know if he was like, you were telling me that you agree with it or not. I don't know, but the point is that you're telling me like you have to believe that you're like the Eminem of your writing. Like, just be the GOAT of whatever it is
you got to be
doing.
great.
Yeah.
Like,
No, it's right that you
and you know
told it.
what? You know, whatever we do, writing, being the greatest rapper of all time, you know, the work that we do, right? I want to be the best at what I do, and I know I can be the best.
Mhm.
But in order to be the best, guess what also has to happen? I have to fail, which is the hardest and the toughest obstacle to overcome, because you know, going back to JC Penney's, you know, like you put your pride into it, you were so proud, and then you were going to go to the next step, and then for whatever reason, you know, without explanation, you were let down by failure as they released you, which is the worst thing in the world. But how's that going to stop you from continue being great? You know what I'm saying? Like, that doesn't mean like, okay, well, guess what? JCPenney's is missing out.
Yeah.
Shit, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to apply the same energy.
I did what Hulk Hogan did. I went to WCW. I went to Macy's.
Oh my god!
Did you really?
Yeah.
You went for the competition?
You know what's funny is after I left JCPenney's, I went to Macy's too.
Oh my goodness, bro.
There for a year.
Yeah.
You left
Northfield
WWE,
one?
went for
Huh?
WCW.
Yep.
The Northfield one?
Yeah, the Northfield.
I went there too.
You actually got hired. Like, did you actually get hired?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Word.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
it's really just overcoming our failures, you know, overcoming ourselves.
It's funny that
know.
you bring that up because I have this quote that I like keep to myself. It says, "Failure is inevitable. We have to make sure it's happening for the right reasons." It's like, yeah.
And it's also what you do with it, because, you know, for a lot of people, failure is the end. And it's
Yeah.
like, okay,
No.
our generation needs to understand a little word called perseverance, which means when shit hits you, you don't just, you know, okay,
Give
this
up.
sucks.
Yeah.
This sucks, right? But how can I improve from it? What can I learn from it? You know, what can I do next time to avoid this, or at least avoid it as much as I can? So even if it does happen again, I know what to do. How can I bounce back? That's the important thing. You know?
No, even
Yeah.
as a writer, like, I know that, like, when you're writing something, the first draft that you write isn't the final draft, right?
Right.
Yeah.
There's a second draft, there's a third draft, and
Yeah.
you become more like, okay, now I know the timing, now I know the pacing, I know the characters, and it's like, it's the same thing with, like, dealing with personal obstacles and failures. Like,
Yeah.
it's just the first draft. You keep going until you hit the final draft, and maybe you never reach the final draft, and that's okay. You'll eventually, like, have those little moments of successes where you're just like, this shit was good, this was better, and
maybe writing isn't for you ultimately. Not saying that's the case, but what you've learned and what you accomplished, you can take that and apply it to maybe something else. Because we're always interested in other things. You know, you know, it's finding, that's a part of finding who you are. You know, and that's why, like, I was so gung ho about, like, reaching out to associates, my managers, you know, building them up, because, you know, everything that you do is a stepping stone for tomorrow. You know, dude, Who wants to work at JCPenney's for the rest of their life?
Nobody.
You know,
Goddamn nobody.
But that doesn't mean you can't make the most of it
While you're there.
while you're there.
No, I agree.
Learn from it, be great, and then apply that somewhere else.
Mhm.
You know, and shit, man. You know how many people I know that have written a book?
Not
Just you, brother.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Do you know anybody
Just
else
you,
that,
man.
You know, that is a huge, accomplishment. You know, so, that's you loving yourself and telling yourself great things.
And I appreciate that, Josh. And it's like, but it's hard for me to like acknowledge that. Like I'm like, hey man, I didn't just write one book. I wrote two.
Yeah.
Two.
But it's sometimes hard to take a step back and be like, damn, pat yourself on the back, like you did it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and maybe it's because of how I was raised and never been told that like, hey, I'm proud of you and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
That it's hard for me to kind of just, get that from myself and be like, hey man, you fucking.
You got to
did it.
celebrate your wins, bro.
Yeah.
Got to.
Got
you
to.
know?
Yeah.
And if you feel like you can't, I'll help you celebrate with you, bro, for sure. Because I mean, you always celebrate mine, so I got you, bro, for sure.
Yeah, like, we'll get cheesy, I guess, but like, do you love yourself?
No.
God damn, that's dark.
Damn.
No, it's just
I mean,
Damn.
hey, we're
Batman
keeping it
over
real.
here, dude.
We're keeping it
Cut
real.
that shit,
We're
man.
keeping it 100.
No.
Why?
He said
No.
that he's about to hang himself right here.
No, well,
no, it's just not the. It's the way I grew up, I guess, or like the way I'm wired. Like I even told you, it's like when I'm doing this, or being with my friends, or being busy, that's when I'm out of my head. But when I'm on my own, I keep telling myself nasty stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so yeah. To be honest, like I don't.
It still weighs
You know,
on you a
yeah.
bit.
I feel like you don't love yourself most of the time.
Yeah, there you go. Most of the time.
Okay, that's fair.
And then I get that you
Mhm.
don't love yourself all the time. There's sometimes where I feel like, oh, nah, I'm just a big piece of shit, and why am I here? But it's like, it is really hard. to
Sorry,
kinda
where
like,
are we gonna go with that?
No,
Josh?
go ahead. I was about to say it's,
I'm lost in words. I don't know what to say. No, I'm just kidding. No, well, like, yeah, I get what you're saying. There's that self-pride,
Self-condemnation is really
yeah,
what that is.
and
Yeah.
like, don't get me wrong as well. I'm not like, I don't go around and be like, I love myself.
Yeah.
Hugs and kisses.
It's not
to
a
myself.
narcissistic thing.
Yeah,
You got to peg it down. But
Yeah, but
so
like people love you,
yeah,
right?
Us included.
Your parents love you.
Yeah.
We respect you. We love you.
Mhm.
If we can justify why we respect the hell out of you and love you,
Mhm.
then you can as well.
Agreed.
And that's what we as human beings. I'll get biblical a little bit.
Let's get it. Let's get it.
Prayer of Jabez. Everyone thinks about like, I'm here to bless everybody, and take care of them. But the prayer of Jabez was like, bless me so that I may bless people around.
Bless me so I can bless others. Yeah.
So I may bless others. It's okay to look at it like that. Like, gotta love yourself, man, to a degree.
Yeah.
And not to a degree most of the time, but you got to know yourself.
Yeah.
Edgar, I don't think you know yourself, man.
I don't.
Like Alberto, to an extent, I don't think you know yourself.
No, yeah.
Like,
and I agree.
Like, shit, talk to yourself.
I do it all the time.
Yeah.
I do it all the time.
My good friend walks around. You guys all know Eric.
I know him briefly. Edgar.
I know him. Yeah. Eric.
Like he'll stand around and he'll talk to himself. Like literally, he's like,
Oh no.
like literally, like he's crazy.
When I was playing Gears, yeah.
In a good way, man. I love the guy.
I wish I
to
could
death.
see
Yeah.
that. I wish I could see Josh's face right now. This is why we need
He
the
and I
video
have
portion
talked
to the
about that too in the
podcast, bro.
past,
We
you know?
need the video portion, dude.
But
Oh shit.
when I see him do that, I know they're maybe intense conversations to himself, but I also know he has good conversations with himself because he's a very confident individual, especially if you see him now. And I love the guy to death, but it's okay to talk to yourself. I talk to myself all the time, like in my head. Like how am I going to address certain things? Why I'm in this situation? What can I do to better myself? Know you, man. Know you.
Know you. Yeah, I talk to myself too. I usually don't do it in public. Not a whole lot, at least. But yeah, definitely, because I mean, I pray every day. That's just part of my routine. And between music and life and stuff, like I got a lot going on. So sometimes I just do it just to keep track of myself. But yeah, man, I talk to myself too. So usually, like I say, usually not in public, but I do.
You are your biggest cheerleader. And the thing
So
that's interesting about it, I know I'm contradicting myself, but when you figure yourself out, when you know what you're all about, you know yourself more than anybody.
No,
So
yeah,
you
that's
can
true.
justify the best aspects of yourself.
Yeah.
And whether it's like like my boss the other day, he was like, I really like to read. I do it every night. What about you, Josh? What do you like to read? I was like, yeah, man, I read graphic novels. He just kind of looks at me and I'm like, yeah, I don't give a fuck.
I don't give a fuck. I like comic books,
it's
bro.
What I enjoy. It's what I grew up on. Yes, I like to read a good book, but I don't care what you think, like
it's okay, bro.
That's just what I like to
honestly,
do.
bro, the only book I'm committed to right now is my Bible. And maybe if someone like Alberto drops another book, obviously I'll read that.
Not gonna happen.
And like
anytime soon,
I get in
that's
a
fine.
comic book here and there, you know what I mean? But no, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
So
No, yeah, no, and to Josh's point a little bit before, it's like maybe you're not gonna be, or maybe you're not a writer, and it's like that is something that I struggle with, and like I think I am a writer, that's who I
think so
be,
too. Yeah, no,
I
you
agree.
definitely got a knack for it, bro.
But it's like maybe I'm not a novelist, maybe I'm not a screenwriter, but I can be a comic book writer.
Yep.
Or maybe I can be, it's the example of stuff like that. Just having my hands in different pots and being like, I'm not just gonna just write screenplays. I can branch out. Maybe I'll do fucking write nonfiction or something like shit like that. It's like, no,
definitely don't.
You're
don't
always
stop, don't stop writing, bro.
And you're always
Don't stop writing. Even if you change genres or change
Yeah.
avenues, don't stop writing. I mean, you're the best writer I
Dude,
know, other than
thank
me.
you.
There was
Just kidding.
on the writing stuff. There was 2 occasions that you trumped me. So hey, there's this new comic book coming out, and you were pitching the ideas. Oh, that sounds pretty cool. Who's it published? It was an idea. It's like you what? And the recent one is because you were thinking about a John Constantine story, and you pitched it to me. It's like, and I was like, dude, if you fucking pitch that to fucking DC under the black label fucking stuff, like that shit would fucking sell. That's how good you are with with your writing and your
pitching
storytelling and
Robert Kirkman was a nobody. Did you guys know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was a nobody. Like he like was in debt or something like that. I did read an article on his history, and he was just an artist. He wasn't an artist. He had to find the right artist. That's why it took him so long to create his own comic book line. But he was a great, exceptional writer, and he was very persistent. He kept going at it. He kept failing. I think he failed like several times, and then finally I think his first was it Invincible or was it The Walking Dead?
I think it was
Invincible.
Yeah. So, but again, that's just failing.
That's the journey.
It's like failing upwards.
It's not giving up.
Yeah, that's what I told you too. Tom McFarlane with the rejection letters.
Yeah.
He kept going, dude. Look where he's at too. He has his own toy line and all that.
He created image. He created image. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. No, you're right. No, Scott Snyder too. He's someone that I really admire as well. And he was just like I told you, like he would send in his stuff to publications, and he would get like automated, like sort of like just like corporate like rejection letters and shit. But then they would send him another one, like handwritten, like just in case you didn't get the other rejection letter, here's another rejection letter.
Man,
damn, like that's
come on, bro, that's cool, dog.
But he kept going.
Yeah.
It's like that's in face of that, and then look where he is now. He fucking wrote that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's like,
before you guys, do you guys have anything to say?
I'll go for it.
Go ahead.
Okay. No, sticking to like the quotes and like being cheesy and stuff. What helps me out a lot is I don't want to sound childish the way I, think. I like to like, for example, like with my relation with God, I see it as Matt Murdock in a way. He struggles with that too in a way, right? You see it in the TV shows, you see it in the comics. That's why when we did that Faith one, I said that little thing and that little scene from the show stuck out to me because that's how I felt in the time.
What scene was that again?
When he's talking to Father, fuck, I forgot his name.
The father who's his dad?
Yeah, no, like the actual
the priest.
The priest. Okay, yeah.
And he just basically says, I feel like God's not hearing me.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I get angry, and the father's like, God doesn't talk in or what do you say?
Like in a lot of ways, like in whispers, right?
He talks in whispers. You just gotta listen. It's like that really stuck out to me.
Yeah.
Another one, growing up is like watching the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You see yourself as Leo, right, or one of the others. Now that you understand their personalities, like I relate more to like Raphael.
Yeah.
Because he's a loner. He wants to be by himself. He's angry all the time.
Yeah.
And the scene where he comes back from Casey chasing down Casey Jones, remember?
Yeah, with Splinter.
And Splinter's like, you got anger issues, basically. You know, it's like you're different from your brothers.
You let anger cloud your judgment.
Yeah.
But doesn't he also acknowledge him? That's like what makes him special.
Yeah, that's what makes him special. Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
I think we also talked about it in the comic book in mental health. God Country. During the pandemic, helped me a lot. Just sounds weird, like come to terms with your own mortality, basically.
Yeah.
And the other one, that's how I think about my mental health in a way, is that Paul Dini graphic novel, The Dark Knight.
Shit. Yeah, that's right.
And that's how I see myself. I talk to myself like if I see my anxiety as the Joker, just trying to fucking. I see my depression.
I mean, fear is a big thing in Batman in particular. So
that's how Paul Dini see it when that happened to him. You know, like he got mugged, and the cops are kind of making fun of him. It's like, what do you do for a living? So he was at the time doing
like a sketch artist.
He was but he was working at the doing animated series of Batman.
Oh, with Warner Brothers.
Yeah. So it would be nice if Batman came and saved you, huh? And that kind of like it's like where was Batman?
Where you been, dude?
So throughout that, he just explains his whole thing that happened there, and basically that's how he sees the way he deals
trauma.
with like the villains of Batman.
Yeah.
And those two books got me out of like a deep.
God Country.
I forget
what that book is called.
It's called Dark Knight, a true story. A true story, I think.
Damn, did we talk about that on the episode?
Yeah, I think we did.
I still recommend that for people to read for sure.
So yeah, it's like, yeah, it sounds stupid, like looking towards media or like comic books.
It's not stupid at all.
Yeah, bro, like that. No, you don't. You don't. I mean, you're hitting right at home for me. So no, don't.
Oh, okay.
Don't feel stupid. I mean, first of all, I think. We can probably all agree. We all still play games. We all like comic books. We're pretty big kids. We're having this conversation. It's real, but I mean, yeah. So don't worry about it. And if it makes you feel any better, like before I actually had a relationship with God, like entertainment was the only way that God reached me, like at all. Like every one of my favorite movies has something to do with my faith in some way. You know what I mean? So yeah, like I definitely like most people just kind of see entertainment. Like, this is just fun. It's something that like passes the time. You know what I mean? But like the stuff that connects with me the most, whether it's like movies or music or TV or whatever it may be, it's the stuff that like it impacted me in some way, on a heart level. So I completely understand that because you're not alone on that. Because like listen, before God was actually a real thing for me, like before I actually begun that relationship, it was all entertainment. Like that's really where I got that interest from, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So yeah, I mean like Raiders of the Lost Ark, that's my favorite movie, right? Everything from, the Ark of the Covenant, that's where the interest in God began, archaeology, history, film, music, all of it began with that movie, so, and I can, every one of my favorite movies, I can really break down like, this is a part of me and here's why, so yeah, you're not alone in that. True. I'm totally in the same boat, bro. I get that.
What about you, Josh?
No, I love this. Thinking about movies, music, it's all art.
Yeah.
and a painting on the wall. You know, all these things, all this art is to reach out and touch you in some way.
It tells a story.
You know, and that's why that's I respect you for that. You know, and I find a lot of inspiration from hearing other people speak, movies.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as cheesy as, you know, why do we fall down?
To get back up.
To be picked back
pick
up.
ourselves up.
To pick ourselves up, right?
Yep.
You know, and you know, little things like that. The Creed analogy, the Raphael
Or like
analogy,
Kobe and stuff. Yeah.
Kobe. You know, so the little things like that speak to us and helps us understand ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, it is okay to be, you know, it's okay to be a loner.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's anything wrong with being a loner.
Yeah.
You know, I love socializing. I love being around people. You know, but the burden of the job that I do and dealing with so many people, you know, I need time to myself.
It gets tiresome.
Yeah.
We all need some me time.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
So I isolate myself.
Yeah, you know.
And that's how I may deal with. Actually, I think that's how I do deal with my stress. Yes, my wife has actually called me out on that because I get home, shut down. You know, I go to my office, you know, and I'm just like in my own world, and then my wife's like,
be present.
Yeah. What's up? And I'm just like, and I forget to communicate.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a son. What's going on?
Reality. Oh, dang it.
Right.
Yeah, you know, and yeah, but again, we got to allow the things around us, whether it is some type of art, inspiration from a movie, a painting, all these things, music, to lift us back up.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna ask you, Josh. I mean, before we recorded, because you were telling me about like the nature of your work and everything, and how it is. It's like, how do you? What's your way of kind of just like, all right, now, I'm like leaving work at the door. Like, how do you decompress? Basically, how do you decompress from?
Well, you know, you work. You well, you said it earlier, right? I obviously work at home. You know, hey Alberto.
Yeah.
No, I'm getting better. You know, I for the longest time I overworked. I over communicated when I was at home. Obviously, talked about work and my frustrations a little bit. You know, and I'm getting better at walking away from that.
Work-life balance is hard, man.
It's hard.
It's hard,
yeah, you know, and
especially in your position.
Yeah.
Good Lord, man.
I take it out on people. No,
probably a little bit, just a little bit.
Yeah. Oh man, what do I do? You know, I try to be thankful for the things around me. You know, for the little things.
Gratitude,
you know,
important.
Let's be honest. You know, the reason why we're negative is a lot of the times. I'm guilty of it. Is it's easier to be negative than positive.
Yeah, it
it's
is.
easy to be frustrated.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of the times when we are negative, it overlooks and it shadows what's the great things that are around us. You know, so you know, going home, having a 4-year-old son, playing Transformers with him. You know, that's decompressing. You know, having a conversation with my wife, that's decompressing. You know, when I call you on the phone and we have a small talk, that's decompressing.
Watching a Zack Snyder movie, oh my god, I guess that's decompressing.
Except Rebel Moon.
Oh shit, we forgot we were supposed to bring that up too. Shit. Well,
here we go.
That frustrated me.
Every episode.
Damn. Now
he's still a great director, though.
Let's cut that part out.
Cut that part out. We're
Zack
done.
Snyder
We're done with this.
I like some of his movies. I do. So.
Yeah, I think it's just really, again, just being aware, self-aware, identifying where you're at, and then just letting go. You know, like who fucking cares? You know. Yeah, that's just my. I'm not. You know, I'll admit I'm not the best. I don't know if it's just my Korean side or what, but all I know how to do is work.
Yeah,
man,
that is your Korean side.
No doubt, man.
I'm a workaholic too.
I am a workaholic, man.
I'm a workaholic too.
You know, and that's all I know, and I'm good at it. You know, so I was able to.
It's like, have you seen Hot Fuzz?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like he's like Sergeant Angel. He can't switch off. You know, it's just
And you're
he's
his
always,
partner.
Damn, Danny.
No,
I'm
well,
trying to
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely do. You know,
Like he tells him, "Have you seen Bad Boys 2?" And he's like, "Nope."
no.
He's like,
Like
"Yeah."
you never.
Oh, you're
seen
talking about
Bad
Hot
Boys?
Fuzz. Yeah. I just saw that one recently. Like, you haven't seen
No,
Bad
but
Boys
yeah,
2.
it's
Point Break or Bad Boys 2?
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but like one of the reasons why I'm also successful, you know, is because I grinded.
Yeah, you gotta
I was
grind. You
confident
gotta work
in
regardless.
myself.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
I never once doubted in myself. Did I ever tell you? You know, I left Pennies on a bad note.
I mean, I'm not surprised, but let's talk about that. Because so did I. So did I.
I was gonna bring it up, but I guess you've told me before. I've seen you on a pretty bad day one time, and
No, I want to hear
towards-
this
that
because
was
I
towards the
didn't
end,
leave
but-
on a good note either.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Yeah, like
I bet yours was worse, but yeah.
No, well, I don't know if it was like bad. I don't know.
Just a bit sour though.
I was very vocal on my frustrations, and
Yeah.
There was a lot of toxicity in
Mhm.
that store, and I was actually up to being promoted, and new manager came. She took over. Do I think she was ideal for the position? No. You know, had a great relationship with my previous manager. She developed me really well. Lorena.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, yeah, you remember her.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah, I remember everyone there.
I had a great
Yeah,
relationship with
yeah.
her. I respect her work ethic. Her and I had a lot in common, you know, and she was like pampering me to the next level, you know. And then this new manager came, and I guess we name names. Who cares?
As long as there's no last
yeah,
name,
I mean, are you talking about Stacy?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Speaking of naming
Yeah,
names,
yeah. Stacy was
man.
a
These
lot,
people will
dude.
never hear a gentleman.
Yeah, yeah. And if they do, we apologize. But you know, we're on to different phases in our life, so whatever, guys. Yeah,
I don't apologize.
yeah,
Maurice.
yeah.
I'm not,
Well,
just kidding.
I will apologize. I can speak for myself, but anyway, go ahead.
Her and I
Yeah.
didn't see eye to eye on a lot of things.
Yeah,
you
Stacy
know?
was a lot. Stacy was a lot.
She
was a lot.
She wasn't
She was a lot.
very
Yeah.
supportive.
Nope.
She was very unaware. You know,
Real pushy.
very
Real
pushy. You know,
Yeah.
she came off very like high energy. That was very fake.
Mm-hmm.
I
Which I
remember
didn't.
that.
Yeah, which I didn't appreciate.
She was loud,
and
yo.
she was very
She
loud.
was
You
loud.
could hear it from like across the store.
Oh,
and
God.
Dude, literally, bro.
Yeah, but
No,
she,
she. I'm sorry, Josh. I'm gonna cut you off. She's the
Yeah.
only white girl I've ever met in my whole life that's louder than my grandparents, bro. And my grandparents are loud. Okay,
something.
loud.
Oh,
Okay.
man.
Yeah. No, she was a lot, bro.
Yeah, and-
she
and-
was a lot. Yeah.
and
Sorry to badmouth. But
no,
yeah.
yeah. I feel you. But I was getting a lot of hate from a lot of the other supervisors too, because I was very
Vocal.
it's very vocal, you know, and I was very direct.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like if I didn't like the way certain things were doing, I was like, we can't do that.
You keeping it real.
Yeah, I was like, this makes no sense. This is not good for morale. This is
Yeah.
not good for the associates. You know, and I just didn't bullshit. I just was like,
Yeah.
this is just dumb.
Yeah.
You know, and then I know there were like Elsie. She was gunning for me a little bit. You know, she wasn't a fan of mine.
Maggie was no help.
You know, Maggie
course.
as well. You
Yeah.
know, and don't get me wrong. Like looking back, do I think I could have handled that situation better?
Of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah,
You know,
Same here. Because I didn't leave. Yeah. Same here.
yeah,
Same here,
and point that I'm getting at is, you know, I was actually very successful at JCPenney's. You know, I took a department in so appliances was a great kickoff. You know, I was able to develop and coach and create good structure in appliances, and then they gave me mattresses, and then we kicked off mattresses really well, and then they gave me jewelry. The jewelry department was actually a dyeing department in that store.
Yeah, it wasn't doing good.
And then
Yeah.
after I took over it, within the first, I would say like 4 months, I steamrolled it, and it was actually the number one department in the store.
I remember
and
that
it was the
too.
number
Yeah.
one department in the district. So that's why I was getting a lot of praise in getting moved up. And then I couldn't do it anymore, and I just walked away. I was like, I'm putting in my 2 weeks. I'm done, you know. And so I had some other opportunities. So there was this company, they wanted me for an area manager. They liked my management style. They hired me, and they didn't follow through. They were just like, we're just going to give you a location. We're going to pay you actually this much, suppose this much. And I'm like, where did I drop the ball? And they were like, oh, we're a family-owned business. We have,
oh my God.
We
here we go.
Here
we go.
I know, right? They were like, we have a great relationship with the area manager, even though we don't agree with his management style and we think you would be a better fit. It's going to be difficult for us to release him.
Mm-hmm.
So I stayed with them for like 30 days and then I quit. And then I went to appliance. I ain't gonna say my job. Then the current job that I'm in, I actually applied for, and I applied for Dillard's and I applied for Macy's, and the company I worked for hired me right off the bat. But then I ended up leaving because Dillard's paid me more money. And then Macy's, and I was there for like 2 weeks, and then Macy's called me like 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, and they offered me more money. And so it, on paper it like sounds good because I was like, making more money.
Doors opening, yeah.
But then you got to keep in mind, like, this was like in a 30-day period. Yeah. And my wife was like, what are you doing?
Yeah. You're kind of hopping back and forth.
Like, you left a job that you were like successful at. You're doing really well. You got really stubborn, and then you went to this job, and then it didn't work out, and you got disgruntled, and you left, and then this job offered you more money than you left, and here's another like kick in the balls as well. I stayed at Macy's. I did really well. And
for how long? With Macy's?
For a year.
For a year, okay, yeah.
Yeah, just a year. So I was a sales manager, and this was during COVID too. And it got really exhausting. I was working because of the COVID hours. It was like it was 11 to 8 job. Wow. And I had
so crazy overtime.
Me.
Yeah.
Well, salary, no overtime for me.
Oh wow. Yeah. Yeah, that was COVID though.
And I didn't, because of my stubbornness, because of my pride, I got into a lot of arguments with my boss there, and finally I was just like, I'm done, right? And I was actually starting to stress myself out and doubting myself, but blessings in disguise is because I told you I applied for this job first, and then I went to Dillard's, and they actually found my resume, and they were like, shit, this guy brings a lot to the table, like, the owner wants to meet me personally.
And he's Asian, so
he's Asian.
That might help. That just might help.
And what's crazy is I was like, no, thank you, but no, thank you, but no. So it was literally like from February up until November, and I was so burned out with Macy's. I was like, you know what?
This was in 2020.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Finally, I was like, you know what? I appreciate you being persistent. Let's give it a go. And then my wife was like,
it's like, yeah,
what the heck?
Yeah.
So keep in mind, I failed, and I had to identify that I was also part of the problem. Yeah, maybe I was right in some aspects, right? But what can I do different? So self-reflecting, learning from my mistakes, applying what I'm good at, and bettering myself in the situation. They gave me a store in 3 months. I was a store manager for 8 months, and then literally my boss was like, hey man, I want to promote you as a district manager. I'm going to give you 8 stores, or blah 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 blah, and then I was like, whatever, did it. Been doing it for like 2 years. Everyone was making money. It's an all-time high. Morale's all up. But I'm I was like talking about my stresses and stuff like that. But it's been a roller coaster of fun and success.
Yeah.
With all the doubt that I had previously, starting from JCPenney's and my other jobs. Like I should have just thrown in the towel. I should have quit. But I just kept grinding, and then on top of it, you know, I had to really challenge myself. I really had to know myself, you know, you know, and yeah, that's my struggle, to a degree, mental health, you know, you know, to being where I'm at today. You know?
That does really, I guess, inspire me. But like to hear you talk about that and be like, damn, like if Josh could go through all of that, and like knowing like you know you have a son and like you have responsibilities and stuff you have to, you know, take care of, and like the fact that you went through all these, you know, challenges,
trials and
like,
tribulations.
Yeah, there was a point where my wife was like, you know, she wasn't gonna leave me, you know, but
got hairy though.
Yeah. Well, she flat was like, if you're going to do this, you have to like agree to stay in this position for 2 years. She's like, I don't want to hear it.
But you have to stick out.
But you're gonna have to man up, stick it, and I was like, shit, you're right, you know. And she gave me an ultimatum, and I didn't want to know what that ultimatum was. You know, she didn't give it to me, but I was like, fuck, you know, I'm putting my family in this position where, you know, she's unhappy. She can leave me.
Was this job that you're at now? That she told you to stick it out?
This job.
Okay.
Yeah, she was like, you know,
this is it for a while.
Yeah, she's like, you're grind this out, and obviously I'm not staying because she
told you that.
Told me that, but I was like, I was able to make it work. You know, I was able to, you know, find the joy in it.
Yeah.
And I was able to. I'm fucking good at it, man.
Yeah.
You know.
And you realize what was worth, like, sacrificing all that shit for.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so
yeah, you know.
No, that really makes me feel like, damn, like if like I said, like if Josh can go through that, like, damn, man, like anything that I'm going through, like, is not nearly as bad or like nearly as like worse as like what you've gone through those past few years, you know?
Nah, man.
Your path is important too, though.
Yeah. We all have it bad.
Yeah.
We all have
but
it.
to have perspective,
rough,
I think, makes it
you know?
right. Yeah.
It's what can we do to, you know, better the situation for ourselves.
Yeah, make the feeling like, you know, if you can do it, I can do it too. You know?
That kind of.
Yeah.
Damn, I didn't know that, Josh. That was.
Yeah, that's me oversharing my personal self.
Damn.
Cut that shit, man. I don't want to hear that.
I mean, the past 15 minutes. All right, bro. Shit.
My bad. Didn't mean to take up too much, but yeah,
it wasn't that long. I'm just giving you shit. Yeah.
But that's why I wanted to share that, because we life isn't bad. I know I said that earlier. I misquoted. Life isn't bad. Life doesn't suck. You know, life is good, but it is hard.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's never going to be an easy road, but doesn't mean there are going to be times that it is going to be easy. You know?
No, I heard this from a book that I read. It's like this moment isn't my life. This is just a moment in my life, you know.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, that's how you have to kind of look at it, you know. It's like there's certainly times where I've kind of felt like, damn, like I really, looking back at it, I didn't handle the situation well, whether it was having a fucking mental breakdown or whatever, and I feel embarrassed or ashamed. It's like, but you can look at it that way and be like, I fucked up and I failed, and I was like, or you can look at it as like, all right, let's go back to the drawing board. What can I do better this time? How can I approach it? You know, like, you know what I mean?
That's why I like love and enjoy. I don't mean to speak so much, guys. I apologize.
No, go ahead.
But
good, bro.
that's why I like sales so much, and why I've worked like commission sales for so long. You know, I've been doing it for like 20 years. Jesus.
Wow.
But it's really a battle with yourself. And all right, I'm gonna approach this customer. I'm going to have this type of conversation to sell this piece, you know. I'm going to hope to sell X, Y, and Z, you know. And then it's like, I did it. Shit, I fucked up. I missed this opportunity, you know. But, hey, guess what? I'm going to have another customer come in.
Yeah.
And then now I have a chance to redeem myself. And it's like, oh, shit, I still fucked up on this. I should have said this differently. You know, and let's just be honest, right? Like, those people, who gives a fuck what they think, right? They left.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know them at the end of the day, you know? But what I'm doing strategically is I'm learning on what I'm doing what I'm saying and approaching myself so I can better the situation so I can ultimately make money. So
I look at it like as being a fucking geek and everything. I look at it like a video game. It's like when you're doing a boss fight. It's like, fuck, I lost that boss fight. I should have dodged right when I went left. Like, let's try it again. Like, okay, I should have jumped when I fucking ducked. And it's like,
but that's the privilege of having to restart at checkpoints and saves, right? Which is great. That's life.
Yeah.
The worst thing that we can do, and I don't know if you guys ever done this. I'm probably still notorious for this, but I will start a game. I will be 30 minutes into it, maybe an hour into it. I'm just unsatisfied how I actually started the game, and I will hit the reset button.
Are you serious?
And I will start from the beginning. This guy's like laughing at me. I'm sharing my man.
You do that?
Yeah, I do that sometimes. So like.
I've never heard that before.
Breath of the Wild, man.
Never heard that.
I was so like when I plugged that in, I was so excited for this game, and I wanted like my first like run to be like
perfect,
amazing
on the plateau. And I remember I beat the plateau. I spent like, I don't know, it's like an hour or something.
Yeah,
it's a fucking long like.
Depends on how long you take, but yeah.
So I did it for a few hours, and I was like, God, man, I think I could have done it differently. Hit the reset button, baby. I started it over, and but the thing is that's what people do in life.
Yeah.
They get knocked down, they just hit the reset button. And it's like, really, it's like, don't be an idiot like Josh and hit the reset button on this video game.
Just like, all right, now I know what to do.
Yeah,
better for next
keep
time.
on going,
okay.
man.
Okay.
No, we have an older brother. Edric can attest to this. Who, like, when we had Resident Evil 4, the original, you know how like when the end results screen of a chapter comes up and it shows you like your accuracy.
The score and
I hate that.
We had an older brother who would come in and play that, and if he didn't have 100% accuracy like rate, he would go back and replay it.
Oh my God.
And he would see what would mess up the hit ratio. I was like, oh, if I miss with my knife swing, does that mess it up? And I was like, and so now every time I play Resident Evil 4, I have that same mentality. It's like, I have to have 100%.
So you do it too.
I can't. Yeah, it's like,
oh my gosh.
It's
bro.
you're it's being like a perfectionist. It's like,
who gives a shit?
It's like you just keep going.
You go through it, you pass it, you still enjoy the story. Move on. That's how life is.
Next game.
Yeah. So is life. It is what it is.
Josh,
it happened.
Being a salesperson for 20 years, he's Michael Scott, basically. He's good at what he does, right?
Yeah.
I bought myself a number one boss mug or whatever.
You got the neon sign.
The neon sign.
He's got the little TV and he just like pushes it in. No, going back to like the aspect of like video games, I think we were gonna talk about this before in an episode, but it's like the way I relate to anxiety a lot of times is playing the Dark Souls games. Have you played the Souls games?
I have not.
Notoriously hard, like difficult fucking games.
Really, really hard.
No tutorial. It doesn't tell you like where to go.
That's one of the main sells. It's difficult as hell.
You have to just figure it out yourself.
I don't have the patience nor the
and
time.
a lot of people just die at the.
I don't have the patience nor the time. I just
sounds like my work life right now.
Yeah. but it's like. It's something. There's something so cathartic about playing through those games and being like, "Oh shit!" Like I realized, if I go through this area, it opens up a shortcut.
It's mad rewarding.
Now I'm back at the bonfire, or like, shit. I played 30 hours into this and I chose the wrong class, and the game like made me realize that. It kicked my fucking ass and made me realize like, hey, you're playing on the wrong class. Restart it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like. That's kind of how like anxiety or failure and even like depression is sometimes. It's like you're fighting it alone and you're realizing like, shit, okay, I got this part wrong, or like, I chose the wrong stats, and like I either have to like deal with it and find a way to get through it, or let's realize that I had it all wrong and let's go back and restart it again.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that's kind of how failures are sometimes.
Yeah.
And I know that sometimes you don't get the chance to like restart and you have to keep going through.
Yeah.
But it's like, I think that's why I love those games, because it kind of it teaches you to, in the face of adversity, like just push through, dude. Like, even if you fucking suck at the game, like, those games are like, they are really hard, but they're fair.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like any mistake you make, it's because you made that mistake.
Interesting.
The game is not like broken. The game is like, no, everything is precise.
You got to figure it out.
You know, you have to figure it out.
Yeah.
And if you fucked up, it's because you either chose the wrong class, or it's because you didn't pay attention to like the environments and like, hey, we're giving you some hints. Maybe you should be using poison arrows for this boss fight. And it's like, you didn't listen, so therefore you fucking lost.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
That's
there's
life.
so many valuable lessons in that
That's
fucking
life.
game. You know?
Yeah.
It's that's why, like, I always tell, like, that's how Edgar got into it. It's like, play those games. Like, if you're feeling depressed, if you're feeling like in a dark place, dude, play a fucking Dark Souls game. I'm telling you, it's gonna kick your ass for sure.
Yeah.
No,
But there's something so immensely rewarding.
that's what I told
Fucking
you, like,
finishing it, man.
there's something like they have to do a study on that shit. I'm telling you.
Dude, right? I'm not saying it cures your depression, but you come
helps.
out from the
It
other
helps.
side
Yeah,
being
yeah.
like,
Yeah,
dude, if
yeah.
I can get through this fucking game, like, whatever I'm dealing with at work, I can fucking get through it, you know?
Yeah.
That's, yeah, I don't know. I guess that's my, like, a recommendation, you know? It's like, if you're in a bad spot, if you're in a dark place, dude, play a Dark Souls game. Or even, like, Zelda, too. You know, in Zelda, there's always these, like, you can attest to it, you know? It's like, there's puzzles that may not have the answer. Like, it's very obtuse how you're supposed to solve something. And it's like, you have to...
You know what's my recommendation? Stardew Valley.
Really?
No, that's not a bad choice.
That's like the most unstressful game I've ever played in my life.
Stardew
So I
Valley,
just play
really?
Stardew Valley. I just pull it up. I have like literally 1,000 hours on that game. Of just,
Really?
And he manages 8 stores too.
You managed to...
dude, I'm not even gonna lie. I have like my work laptop, you know, and obviously like I do my emails and all this stuff, and literally I have also Stardew Valley on that laptop. So I'm literally at work playing Stardew Valley, and I swear to God, one of these days, one day, I'm going on a tangent. I'm sorry, but
No, go for it.
so we do it like reps, like manufacturer reps.
Yeah.
And they make random visits to stores. And I'm like playing Stardew Valley. I'm just like so focused, and it's just me on this like table, and then I feel this like
Presence, like, what you
presence,
doing there,
like,
bud?
watching me. And I'm
What's,
like, click, click,
what's
click,
going
click,
on?
Click, click, and I turn around, and it's like one of our reps, and I'm like, oh, I was so not playing video games right now, but give me 5 minutes,
bro.
man.
I gotta harvest this crop.
Yeah. Time's out, man. I'm about to like fall asleep. I need to get home.
Yeah, that's funny.
Hey, that's a good recommendation, though. Stardew Valley.
Dude,
It's a good way to decompress.
What about you, Maurice? What do you do for?
To decompress?
Yeah.
Man, that's a good ass question. So yeah, once again, like I feel like I like the way I was telling you guys, I see the whole like mental health struggle very differently. So like I always make sure that like, well, maybe not always. I try because I'm not perfect, so let me not throw that narrative out there. Only perfection is through Christ, and that's it. But yeah, like I try my best to make sure, however I'm processing whatever I'm going through, like, let's see it through a lens of faith. Like, okay, Lord, like I know this is difficult, but like, what are you trying to teach me? What are you trying to show me? How can I, prosper from whatever situation is going on? And, sometimes, like, as an overthinker, sometimes it's just like, you know what? It's a bad day. It's a bad time. It's a bad season. Let's just go to bed. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you got to do that.
Yeah.
You got to be very real with yourself. Just be like, you know what? My job kind of sucks right now. Everything else outside of that is going pretty good, but sometimes it can weigh on you, man. Because it's rough. So I think some days you just kind of have to be like, you know what, it's not the best right now. Let's start again tomorrow, and usually that's good. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But
defeat, right?
Yeah,
gotta admit defeat.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I guess because you guys know I'm a well, first thing I'm gonna do, I'm always gonna pray. I'm always gonna see. Like I said, I try to do my best to process my pain through faith. So, I believe that, I don't believe that bad things come from God. I know a lot of people do kind of believe that, but I don't agree with that. But what I do believe is that if you let him, he'll use every situation for his good. What the enemy made for evil, God made for good, right? So I always look at every situation like, okay, this sucks. This really, really sucks. But like, what can we learn from it? You know, what am I gonna like? What's the light at the end of the tunnel? What's through the valley of the shadow of death that I can do better with? You know, what did I not know last year or last month or 5 years ago that I'm gonna know through this experience, right? So that's always how I think about it first, like foundationally. As far as the things that I enjoy, you guys know, big movie buff. So love movies. I'm at this point, like I'm at the point spiritually where I have to watch the things that I consume. Mm-hmm. So if it doesn't inspire me, I'm probably not gonna watch it. Just because if there's
you don't have a like something you can just like turn your brain off and just like,
there's definitely that. I mean dumb action movies, cartoons, right? Mm-hmm. Like not everything. The things that connect with me the most are the things that make a statement, have a message. Not everything has to be serious.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like there's a balance. Like if I can watch Expendables 2 and enjoy it, I'm not taking myself too seriously. You know what I mean? But I mean, generally speaking, I'm not gonna sit around watching like Schindler's List and then the news after that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I think the downfall on our art is that it can be daunting.
Right, it's either inspiring or it's the opposite. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So you watch a movie that isn't a feel-good movie.
Yeah. It makes it worse. You know what I mean? And like that isn't to say like, because even in some of my favorite movies, like Fury, that's one of my favorites. Gladiator, it's another one of my favorites. Like the main characters do die, but they die in an inspiring way, right? Yeah. It's a blaze of glory. Yeah. That's the kind of stuff like, if I go out, I'm going out like a fucking man, like that guy. Yeah. That's the stuff that's cool to me. You know what I mean? So when I say like it inspires me, it uplifts me, that's the stuff that I'm going to gravitate towards the most. Because even if it's a sad story, you can still tell a sad story and have a good message. You know what I mean? Yeah. And sometimes it's not like that, and that's okay. But generally speaking, that's just not the stuff that I like the most. Because I can watch such stuff, and I think those stories are important. But it's the balance. It's the balance. Not too much of the goofy, the corny, the cheesy, and not too much of Schindler's List and Malcolm X. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's a mix between both. But so I mean, I love movies. Now I did kind of want to like talk to you guys about this briefly, because I don't have a PS5 yet. Life, I'll be getting one soon, but things are difficult between music marketing, bills, and life. It's just it's tough. But as soon as I can, they are retail price. I'll be getting one whenever I can. So, gaming is it's more of a low key hobby for me nowadays, just because as you guys know, video games are very addicting. You can spend a lot of time on them, you know what I mean? And as such, there's that balance between like, okay, well, I got to work, I have releases to work on, I got business and marketing moves to make. I can't spend more than a couple hours on gaming throughout like an entire week, you know what I mean? So usually, generally speaking, it's like, well, as long as the game is fun and I'm going to enjoy it for the little time that I do enjoy it, that's it, you know what I mean? Because like on average nowadays, like, high school, even like when I was in college, I'd game maybe like 8 to 16 hours a week. Now it's bumped down to like an hour and a half, maybe 3 in an entire week. You know what I mean? So gaming is something that I do and I do enjoy, just not nearly as much. You know what I mean? So I enjoy it, but I just something that I don't do as much. But yeah, there's that entertainment, music. Obviously I'm, pursuing that as a career, and it is going pretty well. Tough, but I mean, fan base is growing, making moves. It's just, something like that, it takes a while to build. But since we've been doing it for about 3 years now, I say we've made some good progress, and I know you guys enjoy it too. So, but music is a great outlet for me, because I think one of the reasons that I love it so much is, I'm very vulnerable. I'm very raw. I'm very open. Even with the nerdcore stuff, like people might ask me like, Josh, if y'all don't know if you're aware of nerdcore as a genre, but it's music centered around hip hop. So kind of think of it, music centered around pop culture. You know what I mean? So kind of think of it like voice acting. So the way I approach it is like, if Batman was a rapper, what would he sound like? If Malcolm X dropped a diss track on Martin Luther King, what would that be like? That's kind of my approach, So kind of like voice acting, but in hip hop, you know what I mean? So that's one of the genres I do. I also do gospel. I do rock. I do nu metal. So different kinds of stuff. But one of the reasons that I love it is because it's a place where I can just say whatever I need to say and not really worry about the repercussions. I mean, there's repercussions regardless, you know what I mean? Like I said, you're going to have people who fuck with it and people who don't, and you just have to deal with that. That's part of being an artist. It is what it is, you know what I mean? But I love it just because not only do I have the outlet, it's the people that I'm reaching, you know? I always say, it's not about you, it's about the one next to you. It's like, hey man, like that song, that really did it for me. That's awesome, you know what I mean? It's finding identity outside of yourself, you know, finding something outside of yourself. And I believe that that's why faith is so important to me, because it's like, look, we're important, you know what I mean? We have to know that, we have to love that, we have to love ourselves, but we also, I think there's an important aspect, whether it's your family, your friends, your community, to being like, you gotta do something more than just you know what I mean? So bless yourself so that you can bless others. That's always my mindset, you know what I mean? So I think the fact that I have a legacy, a career, even if it's not really my career yet, but a building career, something that's more than just me, I think that that's a powerful thing, you know, to have hard times and deal with hard things and still be able to be like, look, there's someone out there who needs this shit more than I do. You know, that's really important.
That's a good way to look at it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And, you know, I always cherish time I have with guys like you, you know, well, boys. My tribe has changed a lot these days, you know, with doing music, and, you know, the churches that I was a part of are no longer based here in Colorado. So, you know, I still go to church. It's just not nearly as much. So all those relationships are different. Everything's just transcending, kind of goes crazy. You know what I mean? So the people that I'm hanging with, associating with, is a lot different nowadays. But I mean, I always cherish time with family and friends. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, if I could get into anything else, I'm not into it now. If I could get into anything else that would like help me decompress, or something that I would like to do more, I love martial arts, so I would like to get into that. Muay Thai in particular. Great exercise, and you get to whoop someone's ass. And, you know, self-defense. I don't believe in violence, but self-defense is important, you know?
I hear stuff like boxing is like good discipline and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, so I would love to get into that. I want to start a bit of a, like, I love Legos, so I want to start a bit of a Lego collection. Action figures too, like some of the stuff that you have here. I like that stuff as well, you know. So I have a lot of different interests, mostly based around pop culture. But yeah, so I mean, that's my long-winded way. It's like I have a lot of ways to decompress, you know. But yeah. So
we just play video games. That's all we do.
Other than play video games, low key, they're still there, just not as much. Yeah. So
no, yeah, I mean, and Josh, you were talking about like you know, the right people will what you're saying, like will
have the right people around you.
The company you keep is important. Yeah.
None that Maurice was. I think that's. I hope, you know, all of us here doing the podcast is kind of, in and of itself, I think a good way to decompress from.
Yeah, this is great.
You know?
Yeah,
this is great.
I appreciate and I'm thankful that you guys have invited me more than you should, you know.
Oh, no.
You know,
nah, dude,
At this point, John, you're part of the podcast.
You're in it, bro. You're in it, bro.
I appreciate that.
This is like your third episode? Yeah, man. Fourth. Yeah.
But this is like a safe place. This is a good, you know, place to decompress.
And it's different for us, so.
Yeah, and just let it out, right?
Yeah.
You know, so.
To be honest, I thought he was going to be that one, the first one we did for the horror, and that was it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And when he kept calling, he's like, "Hey, I got an idea. No, bad way. It's like, oh, so he's into it. Hell yeah.
Edgar, Josh was like, I was telling Edgar that like, dude, Josh likes our shit. Like,
because you were listening. You were listening to the show prior to being on it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
This was before we brought you on.
Yeah.
I was telling Edgar, like, Josh texted me. He was like, what do he want? Like, he's like, he wants to talk about horror movies. I was like. So yeah, like, no, he likes our shit. Like, he wants to.
He wants to be in it. He wants to go more. Yeah.
So I was like, no, dude, like, Josh is now a part of this podcast too.
I appreciate that.
It's like bringing in the top five.
He's not the only one. Maurice has ideas. You know, it's like, oh hell yeah, dude.
I mean, when you guys started, because it really came hand in hand for us. Because like I said, you guys started the podcast the same year I started YouTube.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think it was actually the first episode Alberto was in. He actually shouted out my channel. And so I'm just like,
dude, like,
right. Dude, like I wasn't expecting that. Like I knew he was into it, but you know what I mean? Like, yeah, that was 2021. Wow, almost 3 years ago. We out here, baby. Come support Mars Movie Records. But yeah, no, yeah, that I mean, it was hand in hand for us. Like it was just gonna happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was nice to hear from Josh and be like, hey man, like let's talk about horror movies.
So fucking random.
Yeah.
I was like driving from work. I was like on a long drive, and I was listening to your podcast. I was like, I think he asked me one time to like join his podcast. I was like, shit, I gotta call this guy.
Yeah, let's see what's up.
1 year later.
Yeah. It was out of the blue because I have you in my contact because I have Small Josh on my phone too. And then when I started working at JCPenney, I was like, damn, I have 2 Joshes now. So I have you on my phone as JC Josh for like JCPenney.
JC Josh.
So it's been like a year, and I was like,
that's his rapper name, bro. JC Josh.
Right?
Like JC, like Josh is calling. What the fuck? And then I was like, we talked, and he wanted to be on the podcast, and I was like, yeah, and now doing this now, like doing this episode, like I realized like maybe this is a good way for Josh to also decompress from like work and
it
all
is.
that shit.
No,
it's good for me too. Yeah. It's good for all of us. Yeah,
bring him
sure.
on here, man, because this could be a good way for.
How stressed are we right now,
dude?
At the moment,
like what's stress, bro?
Yeah,
what are you talking about? Yeah,
it's the little things like this that go a long ways.
It's cathartic, bro.
Yeah, taking your mind off on it. But it's again going back to mental health too. Is what are you doing in the moments when you're by yourself and you're dealing with that voice in your head?
Right.
You know, and that's when you have to speak up, because let's just be honest, who really is that voice in your head?
It's you.
It's you.
It's
you know, it's you. You know, like and it's, man, you know, we are our own worst enemy.
Yeah.
Right.
We are our own worst enemy, and you know, yeah, man, it's we got to battle ourselves.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
and it's. Since we do, again, you know, I think I've told you this in the past, you know, we know ourselves more than anybody, then, you know, that means that we should be able to capitalize, take advantage, and
know how to
better
combat
ourselves.
you.
Yeah, you know, and yeah, man. So yes, taking advantage of situations like this is great, right? But I hope, you know, including myself, that we all learn something from this and apply it to our everyday life, because mental health is no joke. The dark side of it, and I know we got all excited. I apologize. You know,
it's okay.
But my wife works at the hospital, and you know, we were talking about like suicide, and she was like, yeah, kids nowadays, they're committing suicide at the age of 7.
Damn. Wow. That is sad.
You know, and
that is really sad.
You have a beautiful child at the age of 7, male or female, who has some type of doubt in themselves that they're
early in that age.
Yeah, you know, like they're not good enough, and this world isn't. They have that thought process that the world is not good enough for them, and you know why.
Ain't even lived life yet.
How does it get to that point?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of things, man. I mean, a lot of, you know, I mean, I hate to get even more morbid, but you know, a lot of kids aren't blessed with what you're doing for your kid right now.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
No, yeah.
Kids are tossed in and out the system. That fucks you up, man.
Well,
that
it's also
up.
how you. Not saying this is like every situation, but I remember reading books when my wife was pregnant, and they said depression, obviously telling you that the 7-year-olds are committing suicide. Depression in general is at an all-time high.
Right.
And they said that one of the cases that are leading to this is because, you know, in the past, so when I was growing up, my mom beat the shit out of me. Man, I fucked up. You know, she whatever was in her hand, you know, she beat my ass with that, right? Now that is like child abuse,
right?
You know, do I think that it was child abuse? No. You know, would I spank my son? Yes. You know, like, absolutely, depending on the situation. But reading this book, pretty much what it was, the topic was that because parents are going away from spanking, the physical abuse aspect. They were more
like verbal, or
it was more verbal abuse. They were substituting with verbal abuse.
Yeah.
Right?
And
And you have to keep in mind, like, who is when you're a child, 5 years old, right, 4-year-old, my son, the two greatest, I'll just use my son as an example. The two greatest people in my son's life is mommy and daddy. And for your, if I were to tell my son that he's stupid,
worthless,
or that you didn't want him,
get away from me.
Yeah.
It is the like.
No, that's nail in the coffin, bro.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
That's why you have to be so cautious on how you. That's why conversations are so powerful. Double-edged sword. Right?
Words have meaning.
Yeah,
words have meaning.
And it's like I read this other article, and mother comes home from work, and she has a bad day from work, and her 5-year-old little girl is singing, but it's annoying, you know, because of course she's just 5 years old.
Right. Yeah.
And she tells her daughter to shut up. And what does that do is now maybe that little girl is too afraid to speak up. Now this little girl who probably could have been a great singer missed her opportunity, you know, because of the words that were told to her.
Killed her dreams.
Yeah, you know, at a very young age. And that's why you have to be, you know, very, and it's not hard. I'm guilty of it as well. There are times where I'm like, Josh, you know, you're not being a good listener. You're being bad right now. And it's like, oh shoot, am I being too?
Yeah, you have to be
too much.
careful.
Like, how does he think he's like a bad human being? You know, obviously my son's. Oh my God, my son is the most confident. He's too confident. Makes me nervous. But
like father, like son.
Yeah,
you seeing yourself a little bit?
I hope so.
Yeah.
But you know, words are powerful, man. You know, and
Yep.
that's why it's just, you have to be sensitive on how you say things. You know, I'm not. Yeah, America, freedom of speech. You know, what does America do on social media? They abuse it.
Oh yeah.
You know, they troll.
Yeah, you got that right.
They talk about, you know.
I call them thumb gangsters.
Yeah,
you wouldn't say that shit in real life.
Gamers are the same way too.
Yeah,
you know?
Oh
like,
yeah.
You know, they.
I mean, we grew up in Modern Warfare 2 lobbies, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
I hope you have cancer. You know, like, I'm like, Jesus.
Like, come say the N-word to me in real life, bro.
You know,
like,
just we are such a negative
society,
man, and you know, social media doesn't help. Video games don't help.
The social aspect,
you know,
at least,
how we raise our children don't help as well. You know, and it's like, man, why can't we just? Why waste on that negative energy? It is so exhausting to talk shit.
It really is, bro.
And to hate.
It really is.
You know, whether it's about yourself, the other person, you know, you do you at the end of the day, and that's great. If you enjoy it, don't allow anybody to take that away from you.
Yeah.
You know, no matter how cheesy and embarrassing it is. You know, like they're shit. I'm a grown ass man. You've been in my house, and I got fucking toys up in my room.
Goals.
You know, like
yeah.
You know,
and you earn that shit, and it's like that's.
Yeah,
like,
and I'm fucking proud of it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
You know, like, you know, so. You know, other people may come in. They'll be like, "Huh, I like your masturbation room."
Yeah.
You know,
oh,
like,
look at your little dolls of it.
You know, I'm like, this is what I do. This is what I enjoy. Right?
Yeah.
You know, it's not your problem. So,
Yeah.
but part of it is we as you get older, you know, and as you are more familiar and as you understand how the world works, you know, what you say don't mean nothing. You know, it's what I know, what I'm capable of doing.
And it also, like, it's just what matters most is also the people you care about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the opinions that you value. The
Yeah,
most.
those are the
It's
ones
like
you care
people
about.
that are
Exactly.
around
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
No, that's that. You know, that's why I was like talking about how, you know, how am I so wired? You know, like with anxiety, and it's like you go back to like how you were a child and how you were like you were raised, and like that impacts the way you grow up and how you end up, you know, dealing with those problems, you know, depression and anxiety. And like I even told you, like Josh was just telling me, like, hey, how many people do you know wrote a book? And it's like, like I told you, it's hard to kind of be proud of it myself. And it's like, admittedly, it's probably because of my parents, and like I didn't get that from them, you know. And it's that sucks, but it's like that's why you have to kind of, you know, you can find a way to fix it now, you know, when you're older.
Never too late.
Right.
It's up to you though. Yeah.
What about you? What do you think? You've been quiet this whole time.
Oh, nothing. It's just
You're just
interesting.
absorbing it all.
Yeah.
That's good. No, yeah. Is there anything else on
one thing I'd say
mental
about
health?
because I mean I appreciate like what Josh was saying about like, you know, like parents saying things to their kids that pretty much fuck them up for life. And I think we've all been raised by someone. We all probably dealt with that at some point. And you know, you have a kid too. But I'd say one of the most healing aspects for me, you know, my grandparents, they weren't angels, you know. Open up a little bit. They know this, but I was raised by my grandparents. Mom and dad, big alcohol problems. My mom passed away a couple years ago due to alcohol addiction. And so because of the mistakes that my mom made, obviously the trauma, the overprotection, all the craziness transferred over to me. Not to mention my grandparents raised my mom, and they also had one of my cousins for a year, and she was out of control. So, you know, obviously that's going to get transferred to my brother and I, whether we were bad kids or not, and we weren't, you know what I mean? Like, we messed up, you know what I mean? Slightly, but we were never, like, in and out of jail type shit, you know? But one of the things, you know, because, I mean, I grew up, you know, getting whoopings, and they would say some things that probably shouldn't have been said that might have been transferred from, okay, your mom used to do that and now I'm seeing it in you and it pisses me off kind of thing. But I think the thing, you know, because I'm still with my grandparents, still living with them, and we definitely have more of an adult relationship now because I'll be 25 this year and they're in their mid 70s now, you know. One of the things that restored our relationship was repentance, you know. This is them coming and saying like, yeah, you know, I said some things, I did some things when you were younger. Sorry. You know, like I shouldn't have done that. I think a lot of people don't think they should repent to their kids, and I think you should, you know, because I don't believe that we really are in a good place. You know, like I love my grandparents. I really do. Wow, when I was a kid, I did not, you know. Yeah. So, but I think that's you know, whether that's for you, Josh, or for any of the parents listening, you know, you're gonna mess up. You're gonna say things that are, you know, not good. Maybe you spanked your kid not so much because they needed it, but because maybe you lost your temper and today wasn't the best day. You know, we all mess up, you know. Yeah. But I think repentance is a really important thing. You know, that reconciliation of like, hey, you know, I'm not perfect, but I love you and I should do better.
Oh yeah.
You know, I'm sorry. So yeah, repent. It's a very important thing, and not just to your kids, you know, to your brothers, to you know, your friends. When you mess up, especially to your spouses. Oh my God, if you're in a relationship, like, you know, if you're gonna mess up. So repent, man. You know, when you're not, there's one thing you were talking about, like, you know, accepting defeat for yourself, but you know, it takes a lot of heart, a lot of courage. It, you know, takes a lot of manhood to be like, I was wrong. You know, and I gotta get better. So
apology goes a long ways.
Yeah,
man.
repent, y'all. Repent for sure. Yep. So it'll restore relationships. So yeah.
Well, well, you know, we're kind of coming to a close here. I think a good way to end it is just for anyone who is listening, giving a piece of advice. You know,
from each of one of us. Okay.
Yeah.
I started with Edgar. I'll end it with Edgar. What's a piece of advice for someone like, you know, maybe even your younger self or someone that's listening right now? Like,
anything you think?
What would you tell them? You know, like they're dealing with mental health.
It's gonna sound so cliche, but yeah, you're not alone. You know.
No, that's real.
Yeah. You know, I still look up to like my role models, and seeing them that they struggle the same way. It's like cool. Like they struggle too.
They're human too.
They're human too, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They deal with depression, they deal with anxiety.
Yep.
So it kind of makes you not feel alone in a way, you know. When I do get in those moments or those, you know, my
dark places.
Yeah. I just do the simplest things, you know. I read a comic book, watch a movie. And that kind of like pulls me out of it, you know. Yeah, just do what makes you happy, basically, you know, stuff like that.
Keep your mind occupied.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
What's a recommendation?
I already said it, and I say it all the time.
Oh,
What do you mean, like
comic book recommendation?
Like
yeah,
comic book.
I already said it. Say it again. God Country was good. Dark Knight, a true story from Paul Dini. Again, they should do a research on Dark Souls.
How Dark Souls helps with life.
I don't
type
know.
Thing. Yeah.
'Cause there's a way.
That could be a video you guys make, bro.
Right?
You never know. That could be a Two Bros extra.
We did it during like the retrospective, I think.
It could be like a Two Bros
Okay.
extra. You know, like I could help. I would definitely love to edit that.
That'd be great.
That'd be a good project. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, me?
Yeah.
You know, it's that is temporary. Whether you're dealing with anxiety, you know, even if you're someone like me who has like panic attacks, your body can't contain that forever. It eventually kind of just passes.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I forget that too, you know. Even the stupidest things that I worry about, you know, they don't come to pass. A lot of the times they don't come to pass. It's temporary, you know. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. You know, that's what I would say. So like, it's just, whether it's depression, whether it's anxiety, just surround yourself with people that will, you know, take care of you, will uplift you, and it's important to fucking do stuff like going out for a walk, drinking water.
Yeah, too. Yeah.
Meditate. You know.
Drink water, y'all.
Yeah.
It's good for you.
You'd be surprised. Drink water.
Get that vitamin D. Get that sun, man.
Watch a show, watch a movie, you know, and just know that it'll pass. You know, that's my advice, because that's what's worked for me. Yeah. What about you, Josh? What's
I think, you know, repeating myself. I apologize. You know, love yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, love yourself. You know, and it's okay to fail.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but what learn from it.
Yep.
Keep moving, keep grinding. You know, to your point, like it's going to be rewarding. You know, believe in yourself as well. You know, and know that you are capable of anything and everything that you want to do.
That's pretty touching, Josh.
You know, and yeah, if you want to do it, do it. So, but love yourself ultimately. So.
Yeah. What about you? I know you kind of already touched on it, but like,
yeah, no, I mean,
reiterating it again,
I mean, I do this a lot with my weekly word and everything, but man, I have so much. I'm just trying to consolidate it, but all right, be brief, Maurice, be brief. We're working on this. Man, well, going off what Josh says, yeah, love yourself, man. Like I said, what you believe about yourself affects who you behave and who you become. You know, so we all have doubts, we all have fears, we all have insecurities. You know, myself included, all of us included. You know, but yeah, don't define yourself off the worst of who you are. You know what I mean?
Ooh, deep.
Yeah,
that's good shit.
Don't define yourself off of, you know, all of your problems, all of your flaws. I don't know, your way, all these different things that society tells you it doesn't make you good enough. You know, it's like, you know, what is it about me? What are the aspects about who God made me that are actually good? You know, you acknowledge your flaws, you acknowledge your faults, but you know, the things that define you are the things that are good, the things that will do good for you, for your loved ones, for your community, for the world as a whole. You know, those are the things that you should focus on. Those are the things that are. What's this pitter pattering? What's in your house,
like
bro?
That, like a spider. Grown ass.
Yeah. But yeah, those are the things that should define you. You know, not the negative stuff. Be yourself, man. Be true to you. You know, surround yourself with people who just appreciate you. You know, don't perform, man. I'm not. I don't know about y'all, but I'm not good at sugarcoating. You know, I'm not good at you know.
Those people that perform, you know, again, it's that shit's exhausting.
It really is.
You know,
it really,
be yourself,
really,
man.
really is. You know, because at a certain point, you're gonna lose it.
Yep.
You're gonna lose it hard. You know, like yeah, you can only be fake for so long. yeah. So no, but be true, be you. Surround yourself with people that appreciate you for who you are. It's okay to change. It's okay to transcend. You know, you're a human being. If you're the same person for 25 years, I'm a little worried about you. Because, you know, we got to move forward. And don't ever give up on what you love to do. You know, I mean, it's hard. I mean, like, as someone who's a up and coming, doing well, but still kind of struggling artist, like I know, you know, you were, you know, it's like, man, do I just go back to mundane life? Do I drop this whole thing? It's like, no, man, you're doing well, and you know you're doing well. It's just hard, you know. And no matter what path you take, it's going to be hard, but you got to choose the hard that you want. So choose the hard that you believe is worth it, you know. And for those of us, I know not everyone listens to this podcast believes in God, but for those of us who do, love God and love people, and everyone, regardless of where you stand listening to this, just know that you are important. You do matter. If you weren't here the next day, I'm pretty sure there'd be someone in your life who would be absolutely devastated. So don't do it to them. Don't do it to yourself. And prevail, man, because life is worth living. So all love, yo.
Yeah, those are powerful words.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we could sit here and talk about this for more episodes. We could play.
I'm down for part 2.
Yeah, we can
I'm
do
down
this
for part 2.
Absolutely.
Do like a mental check-in every once in a while. I think that'd be kind of productive. But I think we're gonna kind of cap it here. We will return with more, you know, of our normal episodes.
Let us know what y'all think about this, for sure.
Yeah.
In the YouTube comments, and even like with feedback for those who listen on streaming, other than Josh and I. Let us know what y'all think about this, because we think it's important.
We'll get back to recording. I want to hear Josh's thoughts on the podcast about Rebel Moon, because he's literally the only person who's seen the whole thing. Yeah. So I want to, because he's told me about, without getting off a topic, he told me about Rebel Moon, and it was like, damn. He has to save it. I want to hear it for the podcast. So, maybe for the next episode.
So good.
I got the next episode. Let's go. We still got director spotlight to do. Yeah. So yeah, let's get it. Yeah.
So good.
Yep.
But yeah, that's gonna be it for Two Brothers
and a Black Guy
and friend and good friend. How about that?
They're a good friend. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
You've been promoted.
Promoted to good friend. Thanks, Alberto.
Oh man.
And it's been Two Brothers, and we'll see you guys. See you guys next time.
All right, peace out. Later.